Okay.
All right.
Look, it's been a thing on this show where it's kind of hard to talk about comedies because it's just like either this is funny or this is not.
Subjective.
But we'll see what we can do. Okay, the movie opens on Max Bialystock's office, and he's sneaking a little old lady out of his office, reminds her not to forget the checky, and then he runs back into his office, swaps out the photo of the outgoing lady for the incoming lady. She makes him act like a dog, crawl on the floor, shit in a box. Put on this necklace. Yeah, I don't.
What? He's the heart of the ocean? The fuck? All right.
And then Leo Bloom arrives. And when Gene Wilder, leans into the frame to introduce himself into the movie, it really does look like a sitcom, like Kramer entering the set and the audience.
Like applause.
Like, hey, here I am. But
it's a terrific introduction,
it's
too.
So good.
Even before the credits start, you're introduced to this Ralph Cramden of a guy who is, bilking these old ladies out of their money. And then the way that Gene Wilder enters the scene, he's nebbishy, he's unsure of himself, and he immediately backs out of the scene. And you are right off the bat, you know who these two people are. There's no question.
I've never cared about credits more. They're perfect, and the outgoing credits too.
It makes you feel
it's
I know exactly
album.
what I'm watching.
Yes, it's like pay attention to this. Okay, Mel, I'm looking.
And the music, but I screenshotted Leo Bloom knocking and trying and entering the office, and now I just feel so horrible for him because I can see he stood out there. He was nervous. Okay, Leo, you're gonna go in there. You got this. And he knocks, hey, I'm here. Oh my God. It's his worst nightmare. Everything he actually thought would happen if he went into someone's office without.
All right. You're really relating to him. I can see why you think this is the best comedic performance of all time. He is you.
I related to him so hard.
So hard. Okay.
In this movie.
And I related to Max the whole time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So they send Leo away and Max gets back to his sexcapades. They play the chauffeur game.
I do wonder, does he ever actually fuck anyone? Because he's kind of brilliant at getting out of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but...
That's a good question.
Any fingering?
I think fingering, and that's that. Okay. No, I don't know. No, I think he's figured out
second base with the old ladies. Got it.
I think he's figured out how to not have to do that.
He's figured
third
out.
base.
Right, yeah, third. It's third in America, buddy.
Third. Sorry. Canadian second.
You're really rounding the bases. All right. He's smelling his blanket.
Max and Leo meet each other proper. It's just a great introduction.
The comb-overs are aplenty.
And
extraordinary.
And okay. So now we start to get to know their deals. He used to be a very big time producer. He was eating at Delmonico's. Now he wears a cardboard belt. And to demonstrate, he takes off his cardboard belt and he rips it up into pieces.
I thought he was going to show him his penis.
I want to talk about this because I was asking myself the entire movie, why is he doing this? Why does he want to produce shows at all? He's not good at it. He doesn't even seem to like it. He doesn't know how to pick a good show to produce. He's just sort of doing it because what else is he going to do? I couldn't understand what the point of his character's job was if he was so terrible at producing these shows. He's got all these posters on his wall of all these shows that probably closed after a day, 3 days. It's like, why does anyone give you money?
Right. He seems to be chasing some dragon. Like maybe he got his first one right. Some sort of beginner's luck, maybe.
He wants the He wants the trappings of success.
Like,
at a certain point, he was successful.
Even just for a moment.
He could have been doing anything. He could have been selling cars. It's not about the art itself. It's not about...
It's about the hustle.
Being a producer. Although I did notice at the end of the movie, he is directing the prisoners in the Prisoners of Love number, and he seems really happy. And it's like, that's what you need. You need to be working with the actors. You need to be directing. That's what you should have been doing.
Okay, well.
Right.
It's a remarkable
Maybe it's the
growth.
title. Maybe, because even Leo says, yesterday I was an accountant and today I'm a Broadway producer. And maybe it's just the cachet of saying to people, I'm a Broadway producer that he enjoys.
Right. And I find the title producer so murky, and maybe it was more obvious what it is.
Murky.
It's murky, right? So, it does sound prestigious.
My day job, I work for a podcast company, and my title is associate producer, and it sounds a hell of a lot more impressive than manager marketing technology of a law firm.
Right. Wait, ouch. Did you know both of us were marketers at law firms?
Yes, I did. But because I'm in the club, I can say it.
And I worked for a lawyer who had a TV show on which I was
you were a producer.
Associate producer.
Yes, you were.
Interesting.
Although for that, it meant I did everything.
It meant you were the fucking bitch boy.
I did everything.
Of a Toto and
Poco. And got paid $12 an hour.
Yes,
well, there's I can't remember what movie I think it was State and Maine. It was the David Mamet movie with Alec Baldwin and William H. Macy, where there's a running joke of just give him a producer credit. It's what you give your secretary in place of a bonus every year.
Yeah.
Like that's making them a producer is just like it's a throwaway.
That's also why the Oscars started.
Really?
Well, it was a union busting.
Just give them a chocolate statue.
They're going to want to have a trade union and have demands like healthcare and stuff. Instead, we'll say we might reward you with a trophy.
Oh.
Yeah, Louis B. Mayer was going to build a vacation house for him and his family, and decided to use MGM's laborers, the carpenters there, to build it for him.
Oh my god!
And they gave him a timetable, and the one problem was that they had to get it done before their contract ran out because they were going to go into negotiations, and it was going to get a lot more expensive for him. So they built it in 2 months. But he realized that. There had been murmurings that the actors were going to get wind that that these carpenters were getting a union. Maybe the actors were going to want a union going forward too. So how do we get the actors to feel like they're appreciated and like they won't want to form a union? I know, we'll start an awards show. So he goes to all the other studio heads to start the Oscars. And they hold it at the Roosevelt Grand Ballroom at the Roosevelt Hotel, and he hands out these statues to people, and he thinks that's it. We're done. We don't have to worry about this anymore. We'll just do this every year, and then the SAG starts several years later. But the Oscar started as a union busting technique.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where did the name come from? Why Oscar?
Wasn't it the person who designed the statue?
Oh.
No, there are several stories about the Oscars. The one that seems to stick the most is that the librarian or the historian working at one of the I think for the Academy noticed that the statue bore a striking resemblance to a relative of hers named Oscar, and the nickname just sort of stuck.
Okay, got it. Perfect.
Harry, will you be my best friend?
Oh,
you know stuff like
absolutely.
Yeah, Harry, you don't know. I've never heard Matt say that.
3 times.
Also, a little known fact, although it's a little more known because of the what happened with Hattie McDaniel's Oscar. If you were not nominated for a main award, so Best Actor, Actress, Director, Best Picture, if you were nominated for any one of those, you got the normal statue that's looked the same for the last 96 years.
Oh,
if you were nominated for anything supporting or for makeup or costumes, anything like that, you got essentially a plaque with a little version of the statue next to it on a wooden pedestal. And it was a tinier version of the Oscar statue. And this lasted until about 1944, I think, at which point everyone got the same statue. But if you were a child actor, you got a mini version of the Oscar statue up until like 1960, I think.
Oh my God.
That's so sweet.
Those are adorable. There's a picture in one of my videos of Bobby Driscoll, who was the character, the actor and the character model for Peter Pan in Disney's Peter Pan, of him either presenting or getting a child actor Oscar on stage.
That's cute. Matt.
I wasn't expecting us to go down.
Matt is so flustered right now. Oh my God. Matt.
Sorry, I took us on a tangent, but when
no, you don't. This is fucking Matt catnip. I feel like I should leave.
No, I just read the book Oscar Wars, so this is all swimming around in my brain.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that about how it started as a union busting operation, or literally what the Academy.
Right. What does that even mean? You hear it thrown around. The studio heads coming together and being like, let's have a little cartel. Why don't we? But
pretty much, yeah.
Put a nice face on it. We're giving you awards, celebrating Hollywood. Okay. The producers.
Right. They produce. So now Gene is sniffing his blankie.
Here's another time I really related to Leo. Is Bialystok is ranting about all the things, and now he has a cardboard belt, etc. Leo has a look on his face, and Max says, "You have exactly 10 seconds to get that look off of your face and replace it with it." And Gene Wilder just doesn't know what to do. It's amazing, but I also related hardcore because Lacey's always getting mad at me for my faces.
Your face is dumb.
And I don't know what to do with my face to make you happy.
Fucking suck it in.
So I just
try
all kinds of things. Nothing works.
I know, but Gene really does try a lot of faces. Yeah. He really does. All right. Come on.
And then Leo has a panic attack, so he pulls out his blue blanket, and this calms him down. Another thing from Gene Wilder's book. Gene Wilder is a method actor. Studied the method from Lee Strasberg himself. And he says in his book that as he was to act this scene, he remembered his little dog who had died very tragically the year before when he threw a tennis ball in Central Park and it flew into the pond, and the dog chased after it and drowned in the pond.
What the fuck kind of dog?
Gene Wilder is hilariously caressing his blue blankie, the actor is thinking of his dearly departed dog, and that's what allowed him to go nuts right here. You're welcome. So
the vein comes out of his forehead. It's beautiful.
I noticed that like these two guys, what's unusual is they trade between them who is the straight man and who's the wacky one. And they're both great at both of them.
They just instinctively know when it's their turn. They just kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde tennis.
They will both go to 10 at various times while the other one is the sane, rational one.
Right. Like us.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the scheme starts to happen. Lacey, tell us about the scheme.
Right. Well, Gene is doing fucking accounting for all of 10 minutes, and he realizes you can make a lot of money if you just earned more than you needed and promised a lot of things and contractually obligated yourself, except for you can't pay out because you'd flop. So you can make a lot of money and not be on the hook for it. You just put it all in the books. You cook them. See? Did I get it?
Yeah, I love how excited Gene Wilder is as he's saying all of this, and then how excited Max gets about it, and neither of them understands that
they're about to.
To him, to Leo, he's just excited. I just came up with this amazing accounting theory, and he's so proud of himself for coming up with it. And then when Max says, like, "Well, let's actually do it," he's like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?"
Right. So that happens. Now we're moving on.
What? What is your problem?
I don't know. Gonna have to pee soon.
I think that this idea that you can make more with a flop than with a hit, as you know, movie studios are like, actually, it's more profitable to delete a movie and burn all the copies of it than to put it out in theaters or put it on our streaming service or to make it public domain. It seems more and more realistic. That's what I thought.
Wow. No, it's my favorite freak out when he gets. No.
You're going to jump on me.
You're going to jump on me.
Yeah. That's why comedy's hard to talk about, because it's like, this part's funny too.
It's a real you had to be there kind of thing.
Right. It's all in the performance. I'm wet, and I'm in pain. And then he asks him, which would not work in any other scenario. Max says, if I smile, will that help? And then he smiles, and it's the sweetest moment where Gene's like, no, that really does help. Yeah. I really do like that smile.
But I love when Leo is going into hysterics. He's having a panic attack. He doesn't say panic attack. He says, I'm having hysterics. And Max throws a glass of water on him. What? Like a movie. He's seen in movies, this works.
Let me slap him. Let me throw water.
And you think for a second it does work, but it doesn't work.
It's just
and then he slaps him.
I'm wet and I'm in hysterics.
Right. And these things do not work, you fucking asshole.
I'm in pain.
What I need is you to be nice to me, which is such a human basic thing. Like, no, just stop being mean and backing me into corners, you big man.
I watched the first 30 minutes of this movie a few months ago while we were doing our Willy Wonka research. And I thought okay, this is the funniest movie of all time. And I still think the first 20 minutes are perfect and the funniest part. But Harry, you weren't laughing that much?
I guess I just kept finding myself asking questions during the film, and also noting, as we go on when they get to the Franz Liebken's, or is that his name, Franz Liebken?
Yeah,
Liebken, his apartment and all that. I like something clicked with me with the film, but I like slapstick and I love Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel, but for some reason there was just something not clicking with me watching this scene. And I don't know why. Maybe I'm broken inside.
No,
I don't know.
It sounds
I kept thinking, have I seen this or heard this before? And Matt thinks I'm crazy, but I kept thinking of Jerry Lewis, and I don't know why. But there's there is a part of the performance that feels like I feel so familiar, but not from this. But maybe it's because it's been parodied, you know?
And also, I think partly, I've been watching Resident Alien on Netflix. Is it Netflix? Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. And that stars Alan Tudyk. And I noticed that Gene Wilder has Alan Tudyk has very big Gene Wilder energy.
Huh.
Who is that?
They're very similar styles. And I kept thinking, like, if they ever remade this, Alan Tudyk would be the perfect Leo Bloom.
Do I know Alan?
That's interesting. Do you know Alan Tudyk? You know him as a voice actor, but as a live action actor?
Yeah, he's been on Firefly. He's been on... he was the voice of King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, yes. I can picture him now.
He's in every Disney animation movie.
Yes,
yeah, live action.
Yeah. Oh, he was the Duke of Weaselton in Frozen.
Yes.
Weaselton. Ryan Gosling says his entire model for acting is Gene Wilder.
Well, he needs to try harder.
Yeah, I don't see it either, but that's what he says, and he's trying to do more comedy. I don't know.
All right, well,
that's a thing.
Good for him. They're so sweet. Then they go on their little mandate, and that's when it's all manipulation, but they somehow fall in love anyway. Gene has his first fun day of his whole life. Leo.
That's the Bialystok magic. He's manipulating you. He's using you to get what he wants, but he makes you feel great about it.
But he also seems like he's having a good time. It's not like his old ladies. He's actually enjoying every moment. He's not rolling his eyes. He's not like cringing or worried about the next boat ride or romp around a fountain. He's like, I like this motherfucker.
They're eating hot dogs. They're riding the carousel.
He's riding the carousel.
This is the happiest he seems to have been in a long time in his life. Like he's got a purpose now.
Yes.
To do something that isn't just put on another shitty show.
Right. Put on the shittiest show.
We watched Blazing Saddles. We had the same takeaway. We're like, we like when they're nice friends with each other.
We like when they're sweeties. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
We're such basic assholes. Right.
But yeah, this is all manipulation. I want you to go with me on my scheme. And eventually he decides I will. I want everything I've ever seen in the movies. The fountain explodes. It's beautiful. We're all crying and laughing and applauding. Okay, then the next movement of the movie.
The movement of the movie.
Is they need to search for the perfect play to flop.
Boyds.
This is when my panic attacks really start, because sometimes I will think like, what if I won the lottery or like inherited a business and now I had to run it? I'd make every decision incorrectly. I know I would.
You'd go to jail so fast.
If I ran a sports team, if I owned a restaurant, every hire I made would be wrong.
Okay, what are you...
Oh, that's just...
How's this related?
That's just what I feel as I watch this.
Oh, because they're compiling the worst thing, but they're actually accidentally compiling the best thing.
Yes.
They only went wrong with the actor. That's the only step they really took wrong.
That's true. And, it did occur to me, it's only opening night. Surely they could have retooled the play and made it non-funny.
But just Nancy Kerrigan, that fucking main guy, and then the whole thing's done. No one can be that guy.
Yeah. There were no previews. There was no workshopping. Like, I remember when Hamilton was making the rounds before it was even on Broadway.
Yeah.
They were performing for the president.
Yep.
He was doing changes left and right. Like, they never just put on a show and then that was it.
It's such a good point. Right. Like, this is one little one-off fucking theater on Broadway. This is 500 people. We'll be okay.
Plus, it maybe had a great opening night, but then people get over it.
Right. Like, once you know the shtick and once people are doing impressions of it, because this man is forever impressionable, even though I can't do one.
Why isn't this movie realistic?
Also, can that man... Can that performer even do that every single night? It seems exhausting. Okay. Question into the void. Doesn't matter. It's hot in here.
Oh, you mean Dick Shawn, the one who plays Hitler?
It's just so organic. It's so true to who he is already. I'm just thinking, like, do you really want to do this night after night for 5 years?
I kept thinking, is he going to get bored after like the first two performances?
That's exactly what I was thinking. He's too authentic to keep. He did this spin on Hitler because he was bored. What's he going to do next? Hitler? Probably.
Or he'll find something else. He'll get distracted. He'll
do a whole other thing.
He'll hitchhike somewhere and not know how to get back.
Or just play Hitler straight because he's fucking bored. Ruin everything.
Yeah. So they stumble on this play, Springtime for Hitler, written by Franz Liebken. So they go and they find Franz Liebken, played by Kenneth Mars. You might remember Kenneth Mars as the voice of Ariel's father in The Little Mermaid.
I don't, but he has Randy Quaid vibes.
He has Interesting.
Randy Quaid in Independence Day vibes.
Yes, he does.
He immediately thinks they're law enforcement coming to arrest him for being a former Nazi. I just did a Google Nazis arrested. And yes, as of 2024, Nazis are still getting arrested and prosecuted even when they're 100 years old.
Too soon. Just kidding.
Which also, like, the other thing I was thinking during this, there were two things I was thinking during this. One, Operation Paperclip, in which Nazis were recruited by the U.S. government to build our space program. So they were here legally, and they got absolved of their crimes when they came over here. And then this is where the movie really clicked for me and I don't know if you guys do the prediction thing at the end, but I'm going to do it now if that's okay. Because this is where I realized this is absolutely still relevant today. Everybody, when they get to that apartment building, they meet Madeline Cates, who plays the landlady. She calls herself the concierge. And her performance, or her line there, like, I'm the concierge. I'm the one who greets you here. She's trying to elevate herself out of her situation in life, even just a little bit with her title. She's not the landlady. She's the concierge. Leo doesn't want to be an accountant. He wants to be a Broadway producer. And Max just wants success, however it comes in any capacity. Doesn't even have to be a good show. He just wants money.
Right.
And all I'm thinking is these people are just trying to get by. The Nazi on the roof is trying to, like, not be captured by the feds.
Right.
Everybody is just trying to eke out a living in some way because the system is keeping them down. And that is like, as soon as I saw her, I was like, that's what this is. This is about average Americans just trying to do the best they can with what little they have.
Well, and rise to the thing that they think they're supposed to be doing in America, right? Like, not everyone's an immigrant of something, and especially then they weren't so removed from that status. So it's just like, let me become the thing I'm supposed to be. I'm in the city of, are they in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Broadway, right. So they're in the fucking city of dreams. Yeah.
They filmed in New York. This movie came out about 2.5 weeks after How to Succeed in Business premiered. So they both came out the same year. I assume they were filming blocks from each other because it seemed like they were in similar neighborhoods. So I'm curious to know if, like, production crews ever ran into each other while they were filming.
It's a great point about
you be our background. Yeah.
The concierge. I'd never.
Of course.
I just thought, like, this is just good little texture. Just this is the world. This is just some quirky person. But yeah, she is herself living out the Leo Bloom dream. I love that. I also love that he's trying to hide and not get caught, but he wrote a play called Springtime for Hitler, celebrating.
He's not the smartest.
Celebrating.
Yeah. Also, he's a Nazi who wrote a play. Like, you guys burned books, and you're writing a musical.
He loves Hitler that much that he needs to get the word out at all costs.
And like, they're like these Trump freaks who think, like, not just the things people love about Trump, but, like, he's also so hot and handsome.
Right, like the lore.
And virile.
Like, no, you just don't get it.
And he's like, no, Hitler was a great dancer.
He loves all the things in Hitler that he loves in himself. He just wants those things expressed. Like, you can be a true Nazi and love these things. In fact, Hitler did. Let me rewrite history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, this goes to Mel Brooks painting these guys as absolute clowns.
Right.
Like, these are unserious people.
Exactly. Who still wear their helmets all the time.
Who still wears his pith helmet on the roof.
Yeah.
And who gives out arm badges as, like, fucking favors.
I love that. I love that the next it cuts to them and they're wearing the swastikas, and it takes a minute for Gene Wilder to be like, I don't want to wear this anymore.
Right.
And then they take them off, they throw them in the garbage can, and then they both spit on them. And I remember Roger Ebert pointing this out in his Great Movies essay on this movie, is the movie never specifies that these two characters are Jews. Mm-hmm. But I realized they're watching, like, rehearsals and everything for Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah.
And they're like, to us, this is obviously the most offensive thing ever. But to their, like, Goyim audience, they're not going to be as offended by it because it's not as personal for them.
Right.
They're just going to view it as a comedy, where Bialystok and Bloom could never see it as a comedy because it's still so personal for them that they're going to spit on a swastika.
Yes. And so it's okay for them to kind of want to fuck over this first audience because fuck them for laughing. Right. You know, like, it's like, yeah, let me get your money. Let me make this flop. Yeah. You guys aren't in on it, white old ladies.
So they go into pre-production on the play, and
those boobs do not live in the gravity that I live in. Her fucking boobs.
You're talking about Ula.
Yeah. Sorry. There's a picture of Ula on the screen. Her boobs are crazy. They're so perky.
Do we think Ula is funny?
No. She's hot? No. The gag?
What'd you think of her?
Mel Brooks always throws these hot bombshell things in here. I mean, it wouldn't be his show without it. I don't know. She's fine. I have no thoughts. Harry, help me.
She's eye candy. I mean, Lee Meredith was gorgeous. So he like you said, he does this a lot. He did this with in Men in Tights with John Ritter's wife. I can't remember her name now. Shit. I'm
not good with names, or I'd help you.
Every once in a while I blank on names, but the redhead, I can't remember her name, but like the first time we see her, she gets out of a bathtub and she's covering her her boobs with her hair, and she's wearing the chastity belt. He does that, and then also in Young Frankenstein, the bosoms are always pushed up,
and of course Blazing Saddles as well. I mean,
Blazing Saddles, he does this a lot. This is just his shtick.
He pushes the envelope.
They're funnier in Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, though. Oh, that's all. I just
well, but Max has been fucking all the old ladies. It's nice that a nice young lady wants to make love.
It's nice,
I guess.
Yeah.
He goes into little.
I actually thought that's where the musical adaptation did better. I think Uma Thurman was a better version of that character than this one.
And she has stuff to do.
In my head, this woman had more to do. So I was let down when I saw her. I had let the two kind of cross-pollinate in my head. And so I was like, oh, okay, she really doesn't even speak English. I was waiting on the female.
Well,
whatever.
They're going over their numbers, and I have my third panic attack of the movie when Leo Bloom counts
Amy
it up.
Yazbek. Sorry, that was going to bother the hell out of me. Amy Yazbek.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry.
He totals up the percentages of profits they've sold. They've sold 25,000% of the profits, and my heart really does sink at that point. Like, I know this is a fake movie, but I'm like, guys, you shouldn't be doing this.
That's so amazing to me. You are really feeling Leo's role in this, and the whole time I'm thinking like Max, like that sounds fine. That sounds fine.
I could so easily see it happening to me.
Well, because I'm just an optimist. Like we're getting away with this shit. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. We're gonna make all this money.
Well, also the little old ladies don't know that they're not the only one investing in the show.
Right.
They think there's a Jerry Lewis movie called Boeing that's very much like this. It's a comedy of errors about it's is it Tony Randall or Tony? I think no, it's Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis and Jerry Lewis play friends, and Tony Curtis plays this guy who's dating 3 different flight attendants on 3 different airlines, and they all just so happen to be in the city at the same time.
Yep.
And so he's trying to negotiate them coming to and from his apartment without them meeting each other. And this is sort of that kind of situation where, all these little old ladies are giving him checks and he's whining and dining them, trying to keep them from meeting each other.
I know. I just keep thinking about opening night, and then they all show up in the courtroom for him, and that's just so sweet because they're all okay with well, we got our slice. We still feel special. He's that good. All right, now the most problematic portion of the fucking evening.
Well, they go meet the director. He's the worst director in the world, Roger Dubree.
Why does he have so much money then? That's what I want.
And the joke with him and his assistant is they're gay.
They're so gay, y'all.
They're 2 men in a relationship.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Let's get married again.
And it's just, this is the part where I'm like, this movie is really dragging. Just not that funny. But
it's hard to watch.
They're very flamboyant. But it's like the only joke is like, look at gay people on screen.
Right. It's hard to watch that part because they do such a good job otherwise.
It's hard to watch it with modern eyes, and it's the same thing with I watched recently The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the original. I hadn't seen it before, and there are a lot of references. It was made in 1974, so it was women had just been allowed to work at the MTA in New York, and they make several references to we let women in here, and suddenly everything, all the shit hits the fan, and it's like, okay, this is not modern day America.
Right.
And so you just sort of have to watch it, realizing or remembering it's of the time it was made. And I see this a lot with people with Gone with the Wind. It's like, oh, it's so racist. Yeah, it absolutely is racist. Had it not been for the Hays Code, this would have been a lot worse and a lot closer to the book, which is racist as hell. So, be glad with what you got. It's still a great movie. It's just very problematic.
Right.
But specifically with this, It's like the literal joke is it's a man wearing a dress. There's like no heightened comedy to it.
Right.
That's
it feels
really
too
what it's
easy for Mel Brooks. Like,
maybe it's like, hey, give him points. This is 1968 and there's a gay person and there's a cross-dresser on screen.
True.
And that itself maybe is progress. We're just acknowledging the existence.
But we hadn't really advanced beyond Bugs Bunny in a dress at this point. Like we were still doing those jokes, and we were doing those jokes well into, like, Flip Wilson was doing drag on his show in the 70s, and they were doing this stuff well into the 80s with Bosom Buddies. Mm-hmm. Like, drag as comedy has been a staple of entertainment.
Right. When was Tootsie?
Up until recently.
82.
Yeah, Tootsie. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was still like a viable Halloween costume option at school for just a guy to wear a dress when I was in high school. I mean, that's hilarious. Comedy at its
Mrs. Doubtfire.
There you go. The fuck.
And that was just on Broadway, too.
There's a Mrs. Doubtfire Broadway?
Yeah, they turned it into a musical.
Holy shit.
But even with these things you're saying, there's a step 2 to the joke. It's
right.
I dressed up as a woman, now I have to be the actual nanny.
Right, exactly.
The joke is this man's wearing a dress.
I'll bet he's a bad director.
Yeah, the joke is fish out of water doing a job he's not qualified for and trying to hide from his wife. In
Exactly.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Where this is just, we've got to stomach this director because he's the worst there is. And it's so hard to stomach because look how gay he is. Yeah, it just feels a little low for Mel Brooks' talent, but that's all right.
I do like him saying, I never knew the Third Reich meant Germany. And this place filled with historical goodies like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Germany losing the war in the third act is too depressing, so we'll replace it with a musical number. Yeah, so that's this stuff.
I think Mel Brooks is kind of like projecting himself onto this man, right? Because it's really Mel Brooks who's seeing this musical as a musical. So maybe he's kind of making fun of himself. Like, maybe I should be in a dress. Maybe I'm the one that sees things. Maybe. People see me like this if they knew how I really saw the world. I win. Okay, and now we're going to audition for Adolf, and there are just all the dancing Adolfs go over here, all the singing ones over here. It's anarchy. I'm not sure why the producers get to pick this and not the director, but whatever.
Well, they're all working together. It's very collaborative.
This scene I laughed at, just seeing all of these grown-ass men in their little toothbrush mustaches, hiling all over the place and getting in each other's way. I thought it was hysterical.
Just kicking and grunting and wearing nothing and wearing a lot of stuff.
And they're singing and they're singing over each other, and it's just... It was very funny.
And it makes you wonder about the real cast call for this. It's like how just anyone bring their version of Hitler to this, please, for this movie.
Yeah, maybe these guys are all the guys who didn't get the role of LSD.
It's very possible.
But tell us about LSD.
Must I?
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd even start. He thinks he's coming in for a completely other different play. He's got a whole squad of ladies that are going to play his music. He's a really cool cat, yet he doesn't have any employment. I don't know. He's a beatnik. Yeah. He's wild. I don't know what else to tell you.
Dick Shawn. Do you know Dick Shawn, Harry?
I had seen him before, and I couldn't place him. I couldn't remember where I had seen him before.
There's something so familiar, though.
He was John Ritter's father on Three's Company.
Oh, no, that's not it.
Oh, God, that's okay.
But yeah, I don't know him from anything else. It's just he's listed on the poster and everything. It's like, and Dick Shawn. Like, Dick Shawn, he must be somebody.
Like, was he in any Gidget movies? Was he in any, like, just Elvis stuff? Like, he just feels like a throwback that I'm very familiar with.
He was in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. That's probably the most famous thing he's done.
But that movie has 10,000 people in it.
Oh, yeah, it's a total ensemble cast there.
Yeah.
There's something very tan about him, something very California in some way. I just feel like I've probably seen him in some B-list movie.
Apparently he was a character actor. He did a lot of TV in the 80s and the 70s and stuff. He showed up on a lot of different shows.
But he seems to have been a go-to for, we need somebody to play a hippie or a beatnik or a counterculture.
Yeah.
So we'll get him. Most of my life, my understanding of beatniks it was just Ned Flanders' parents on The Simpsons. Okay. And I guess this movie. I feel like beatniks have kind of been erased from history.
Tell that to Mad Men.
Okay.
All right. Now
tell that to Judy Funny.
That's true. Oh, Judy Funny, but I didn't know she was a beatnik.
Fuck is Judy Funny?
Who's Judy Funny?
Oh, why don't you eat my dick
from
back?
Doug?
From Doug Lacey? Doug's sister?
We're using their last name. Jesus, so formal. I just know her as Judy. Anyway, opening night time. Now it's when they really cash in. By the way, they're talking way too loud in the back of the fucking theater. Quiet. And we get to finally see these numbers, and we get to see these boobies. It's very risque. Yeah. Whatever. The play starts off, the opening musical.
I laughed my ass off when the dancers come down and you see the beer steins on the chest and the Bavarian pretzels. I lost it.
Yep, the pretzels were good. And then just the goose stepping, because it already looks very musical. They just put it into the right atmosphere, and it's like, yes, this works.
That's what Charlie Chaplin did with The Great Dictator. And people have always pointed out, like,
it's very
with Hitler, with Mussolini, with these fascists.
Oh, it's all pump.
Heighten it like 5%, and it's comedy.
And so is Star Wars.
And you're so silly. You're so silly looking and sounding.
They watch any of that footage of Hitler at the dais watching his soldiers march by, and it's pageantry. They love pageantry.
Right.
And like you said, if you elevate it 5%, it becomes a musical number. Like it's hilarious.
Right. You're 5% off from the people you are completely annihilating. Good job.
Yeah.
We're marching to a faster pace. Look out. Here comes the master race.
Master race. God, that's so good. It's so funny.
So the opening number is not a hit, and people start walking out, but then they hear voices, and they're funny voices, and they all come back. What do you want me to say?
Before that happens, though, just like Mel Brooks, this is his first directing job. He does a hell of a job.
Oh, sorry.
Why'd
you give me this
a
slide?
musical number. I'm not. So good job, Mel. You got a future.
Yeah, you're a bright star.
I love the shots of Max and Leo. They look so proud. They look like genuinely moved. Like, we did it. We put on a big piece of shit.
It's fucking hard to put on a play.
Yep.
We did it. And I feel so good for them.
Especially when everyone starts walking out.
And they're just like, let us lead the pack. And they go and they think everyone's following them. And then they get real fucking drunk, which is lovely.
Yep. And then
the silvery moon.
As you said, Lacey. But then once the actors start talking, suddenly the audience is into it.
Like, what?
Hey, wait a minute.
There's another act.
It's funny.
Holy shit, let's just stay. We already got dressed up.
Yeah. They go to the bar across the street. They're going to wait it out. They don't want to get harassed by the angry theater goers. But they like it.
Well, and for us, the audience, the movie has picked up again. It is funny again. It had stopped being a little bit of a lull. And we get to watch Shaun of the Dead. What's his fucking name?
That's it. It's Shaun of the Dead.
Perfect.
The play is a hit, and now they don't know what to do. Now I'm having my fourth panic attack. You have too many percentage points to hand out. What are you going to do? So they tried to persuade Franz Liebken, hey, can you just assassinate the actor or blow up the theater? So he says, yes, he will. And then there's some shenanigans with blowing up the theater, and eventually
they blow up themselves.
They do. Like, there's only 8 minutes left in this movie, and there's still a ton that has to happen.
They get a lot done.
Yeah, they blow up the theater.
I love how they got minor injuries, and Franz Liebken is in a full body cast.
We have that picture.
But he
on
still has his helmet. Like,
he still has his helmet.
You're describing
He's
exactly
in the courtroom.
what Matt put. But he looks look his muscles. They wrapped his muscles so nice. And then the sweet little
they're convicted. Now do you want to have to say anything before we sentence you? And Leo Bloom stands up, and Gene Wilder delivers this completely sincere, heartfelt defense of his friend, and he's delivering it like he really means it. To Kill a
Mockingbird.
And it's like moving and touching and so funny because of how serious and straight he's being. And this man showed me kindness. He showed me that life has possibilities. I can want things out of life and take it. And he taught me that. And who has he really harmed? Not me, not the little old ladies. And
then in true movie magic, all three of them end up in the same beautiful prison, which would not happen.
Yeah, now we're in prison and they're up to it again. They're putting on a new play, Prisoners of Love, and selling shares to other prisoners and the guards and the warden.
Couldn't they just fucking put on a play and live their best life? Also, it turns out the scam is also part of living their best. Right. Yeah. So there you go.
But as I said, Max is happy right now. He's working with the actors he's directing.
That's what I'm saying. He could just be down for the art of it. Doesn't also have where's he going from this? Solitary? When this doesn't fucking work out, it's going to be a hit. It's in prison. Yeah. Nothing else to watch. Short-sighted.
There's a just one more thing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
There's like a deleted scene. I tried to find it. I could not. I went through the DVD. I couldn't. Maybe I imagined this, but I remember a poster for the Prisoners of Love show at the end of the movie that says starring, and then it just has a prisoner number. And it says, and another prisoner number.
That's funny.
And I couldn't find it. But
all right,
folks, trust me, it's funny.
And I laughed.
That's the end of the movie.
Yay!